They said all you had to do was eat less, that the secret was in the calories. But science proved otherwise. There is a diet capable of eliminating 14% of visceral fat without obsession, without suffering. What it does inside the body is something no scale can ever show. He doesn't show up in the mirror, but he can change everything inside. Visceral fat is silent, nestled between vital organs, and often deceives even those who appear to be in shape. The body gets used to it, until it begins to react with constant inflammation. Research on visceral fat loss reveals that this type of fat is more dangerous than any number on the scale. It releases inflammatory cytokines that disrupt hormones, alter glucose levels, and strain the cardiovascular system. The result? An inflamed and tired body, even without visible excess weight. Imagine the liver, heart, and intestines trying to function while surrounded by a layer of fat that acts like a chemical saboteur. This buildup is the true hidden villain of modern health. The good news is that the body can recover as long as it receives the right signals. The secret isn't about eating less, but eating smart. Strategies like the Mediterranean diet for fat loss and consuming polyphenol rich foods help reduce internal inflammation and rebalance metabolism, naturally supporting gut health and weight loss. It's curious how many people believe that being thin is the opposite of being unhealthy, when in fact, the real enemy may be invisible beneath the skin. And what if you could reduce belly fat naturally, without living under restrictions, simply by adjusting what goes on your plate? The scale may smile, but the body could be screaming inside. Losing a few pounds doesn't guarantee that the inflammation is gone. It's like repainting a house without checking the plumbing. It looks new on the outside, but inside, the same chaos remains. Studies on visceral fat loss show that the gap between appearance and health is brutal. Some people flaunt a flat abdomen, yet their organs are wrapped in inflamed fat. That's why so many feel frustrated. The mirror improves, but the lab results tell another story. When metabolism is out of balance, the body defends itself by storing deep fat. Counting calories without improving food quality is like trying to extinguish a fire with a spoonful of water. That's why the Mediterranean diet for fat loss has gained attention. It heals the inside, not just the outside. A diet rich in polyphenol rich foods, such as dark fruits, olive oil, and nuts, helps restore intestinal balance. And when gut health and weight loss work together, the body finally understands it can let go of what it's been holding on to. That changes everything. So if the number on the scale no longer convinces you, maybe it's time to look at what's really happening beneath the surface, because what comes next reveals a real case that completely dismantles this numerical illusion. He thought he was on the right track. He counted calories, trained 5 times a week, and even cut out sugar. In 6 weeks, he lost 11 pounds. But when he took a DEXA scan, the shock came. His visceral fat loss was 0. Nothing had changed inside. His body looked lighter, but his organs were still suffocated by fat. The frustration was enormous. How could he follow the rules and still remain inflamed? That was the moment he decided to turn things around. Instead of focusing on quantity, he focused on quality. He replaced breakfast cereals with eggs and avocado, sodas with lemon water, and processed meats with omega-3 rich fish. Without realizing it, he was applying the principles of the Mediterranean diet for fat loss. 2 months later, the new scan revealed something impressive: a 75% reduction in visceral fat, even without much weight loss. The polyphenol rich foods were reprogramming his metabolism and strengthening his gut health and weight loss from the inside out. This story became a reference because it shows a simple truth. Losing weight is not the same as healing, and what scientists discovered soon after explains exactly why the right diet can change the body, even at the cellular level. When researchers compared different eating plans, the results surprised even the most skeptical. The standard healthy diet reduced visceral fat by 4.2%, the traditional Mediterranean diet by 6%. But the optimized Mediterranean diet reached an incredible 14%, even with minimal weight loss. This difference stood out because it wasn't just aesthetic, it was biochemical. The secret lay in the density of natural compounds found in polyphenol-rich foods, capable of retraining metabolism and activating genes linked to visceral fat loss. These compounds act as the body's messengers, signaling cells that it's time to balance energy and inflammation. When combined with the pillars of the Mediterranean diet for fat loss, they create a far more efficient and long-lasting metabolic response. One study, published in the Journal of Nutrition and Metabolism, showed that increasing polyphenol intake improved gut health and weight loss within just a few weeks. People who seemed stuck in a metabolic plateau began to burn deep fat without radical diets. It was the turning point, understanding that the power of nutrition lies less in calories and more in bioactive compounds. And what makes this even more fascinating is discovering why these polyphenols work so effectively. Polyphenols are like tiny engineers of the human body. Found in dark fruits, green tea, nuts, and extra virgin olive oil, they help the body cell. Studies on visceral fat loss show that these compounds play a direct role in reducing cellular inflammation. When they come into action, polyphenols activate molecules such as urolithin A and hippuric acid, which improve metabolism and protect the liver. It's as if the body gains a new operating system more efficient and resilient. This is the essence of the Mediterranean diet for fat loss. People who increase their intake of polyphenol-rich foods report more energy and mental clarity, effects that go far beyond physical appearance. This happens because there is a direct connection between these compounds and gut health and weight loss, strengthening the gut microbiome. Imagine the gut as a garden. Without the right nutrients, weeds grow and sabotage the system. But when you feed the good bacteria with polyphenols, the metabolism blooms and the body begins to reduce belly fat naturally without extreme effort. The most interesting part is that the impact of these compounds is cumulative. The longer you consume them, the more your body adapts. But of course, no nutrient works miracles on its own, and that's where the next step comes in. Before adding, you need to eliminate. Visceral fat doesn't form on its own. It's fueled every day by small habits disguised as normal. Cutting these saboteurs is the first real step toward visceral fat loss. Alcohol, for example, isn't just a social drink. It reduces fat oxidation, overloads the liver, and increases hunger. It's one of the hidden enemies of the Mediterranean diet for fat loss, even in small and seemingly harmless doses. Ultra-processed foods and refined sugars are another silent blow. They destroy intestinal balance, undermining gut health and weight loss, and creating the perfect environment for inflammation to take hold. The body stays on constant alert, and fat burning slows down. Replacing these foods isn't punishment, it's freedom. Reducing sugar, cutting out soda, and choosing natural seasonings like turmeric and black pepper help realign metabolism. These are simple adjustments with a profound impact. And what's curious is that once you eliminate what harms you, the body responds quickly. More energy, less bloating, better sleep. But the real progress begins when you learn what should take their place. That's where the metabolic shift begins. Most diets focus on cutting, restricting, and excluding. But the secret to true visceral fat loss lies in adding, not suffering. Eating well is like investing. You need to choose the right assets to generate long-term returns. In practice, this means prioritizing foods that nourish and balance. Fish, eggs, and chicken help preserve lean mass, the foundation of an active metabolism. They are simple yet essential pillars within the Mediterranean diet for fat loss. Dark fruits, like blackberries, blueberries, and raspberries are tiny capsules of longevity. They are packed with polyphenol-rich foods that fight inflammation, balance the gut, and support gut health and weight loss. Just 2 cups a day can make a real difference. Green tea comes in as a silent ally. It stimulates fat oxidation and improves insulin sensitivity, helping the body reduce belly fat naturally. A simple morning habit that can redefine your entire metabolism. And the most interesting part is that there's no suffering in this process. These are smart choices that become a lifestyle. And if food can heal, imagine what happens when vegetables and fermented foods come into play. Few people realize it, but green vegetables are true metabolic modulators. Spinach, kale, and even duckweed, a little-known aquatic plant, increase the volume and nutritional value of meals without burdening digestion. This directly supports visceral fat loss. Within the Mediterranean diet for fat loss, these foods are the foundation of chemical balance. Rich in magnesium and chlorophyll, they help reduce oxidative stress and strengthen the immune system, creating a more stable and less inflamed internal environment. But the real advantage comes when they combine with fermented foods. Natural yogurt, kefir, kimchi, and sauerkraut feed the gut microbiome, boosting gut health and weight loss. It's like rebuilding a city from the inside, cell by cell. These foods also enhance the effectiveness of polyphenol rich foods because they increase antioxidant absorption. The result is a cleaner metabolism and a more balanced hormonal response, factors that help the body reduce belly fat naturally. When the gut is in harmony, everything changes: energy, mood, sleep, and even mental clarity. And the next step is discovering that the right time to eat can be just as important as what you eat, a detail that changes the entire game. It's not always what you eat, it's when you eat. The human body has precise internal rhythms, and respecting them is one of the silent pillars of visceral fat loss. Eating at the wrong time is like trying to sleep with the lights on. The system never truly rests. The biological clock governs much more than sleep. It regulates hunger, digestion, and energy hormones. Within the Mediterranean diet for fat loss, keeping consistent meal times helps the body use fat as fuel rather than storage. Studies show that eating dinner 3 to 5 hours before bedtime improves insulin sensitivity and reduces nighttime appetite. Having breakfast 1 to 2 hours after waking helps the body efficiently restart metabolism, supporting gut health and weight loss. These simple adjustments reduce inflammation, stabilize cortisol, and enhance deep fat burning. When combined with polyphenol-rich foods, they boost the body's ability to reduce belly fat naturally without drastic changes. Respecting the body's timing is an act of biological intelligence. But there's another factor that few notice: sleep. Because no matter how well you manage your schedule, if you don't rest properly, the body doesn't have the energy to heal. Sleeping well is one of the most underestimated secrets of metabolic health. The body can only repair itself when it enters deep sleep, and it's during this stage that visceral fat loss truly happens. Rest is the real fuel for internal fat burning. Sleep deprivation raises cortisol, reduces insulin sensitivity, and disrupts hunger hormones. The result is more appetite, less energy, and a slower metabolism. Even the Mediterranean diet for fat loss loses effectiveness when the body can't properly recover at night. Studies from Harvard Medical School show that sleeping 7 to 8 solid hours helps regulate the biological clock and optimize hormonal responses. This creates the ideal environment for gut health and weight loss, reducing inflammation that prevents the body from functioning properly. In addition, during deep sleep, the brain releases growth and cell repair hormones. This combination is perfect for those seeking to reduce belly fat naturally, as it balances energy and repairs damaged tissues, creating an internal nightly reset. Rest is not a luxury, it's a strategy. And when rest aligns with nutrition, the body operates in healing mode. But there's still another invisible villain that sabotages this process, even on the calmest days. Stress is the silent imposter of metabolism. It makes the body believe it's in danger, activating survival mode. In this state, visceral fat loss becomes almost impossible as the body starts storing energy in the form of deep fat. High cortisol levels directly affect appetite, sleep, and digestion. Even with a balanced Mediterranean diet for fat loss, excessive tension blocks the benefits and prevents the body from responding properly to nutrients. It's like trying to drive with the handbrake on. Deep breathing, exposure to natural light, and mindful pauses throughout the day can change everything. These small actions lower cortisol and improve gut health and weight loss, allowing metabolism to function without barriers. Science explains it clearly. The autonomic nervous system decides whether the body will burn fat or store it. And polyphenol-rich foods, with their antioxidant power, help neutralize the effects of oxidative stress, creating fertile ground to reduce belly fat naturally. Managing stress isn't about eliminating problems, it's about learning to respond to them with balance. And when that balance joins nutrition and movement, the true foundation of transformation is born. No single method works miracles. Lasting visceral fat loss is born from a combination of strategic eating, consistent movement, and perseverance. Together, these three pillars form what we call the metabolic tripod, the foundation of every real transformation. Nutrition comes first, and not by accident. The Mediterranean diet for fat loss provides the ideal fuel: natural foods, healthy fats, and polyphenol-rich foods that regulate hormones and inflammation. It's the kind of diet that teaches the body to work intelligently. Then comes movement. Daily walks, strength training, and short bursts of high-intensity exercise accelerate fat oxidation and strengthen the cardiovascular system. This is how the body learns to reduce belly fat naturally, in a sustainable way without extremes. But none of this works without the third element, consistency. It takes 90 days to reprogram metabolism, stabilize gut health and weight loss, and solidify new habits. At this point, the body stops resisting and starts cooperating. When these three pillars align, the result is not just a lighter body, but a clearer mind and renewed energy. And it's precisely at this turning point where science and practice meet. In the end, it all comes down to a choice. Keep fighting against the mirror or start understanding your own body. Visceral fat loss isn't about aesthetics, it's about freedom. The freedom to wake up feeling light, to think clearly, and to feel real energy. What you've learned here may seem simple, but it's the kind of knowledge that changes lives. Because when you apply the Mediterranean diet for fat loss, you invest in something that goes beyond food. You invest in balance, in time, in life. And if there's a moment to begin, it's now. Try small changes, watch your body respond, and see the power of polyphenol rich foods, movement, and consistency transform everything. Your metabolism just needs one yes to wake up. So tell me, what will your choice be if you want to keep learning about health, metabolism, and the science of the body? Subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. The journey is only beginning. This content is for informational purposes only and does not replace professional medical advice. Results may vary. Always consult a healthcare professional before making major changes to your diet or exercise routine.